Professional wrestling fans, this is the Gorilla Report, the hottest new professional wrestling talk show on the internet today. Please welcome your host, Ollie Harper.
Step up to me, you wanna be a big top player, it's not to be. Look at all the side ass, acting like a wise ass. Look at your face, and you never look back.
Hey, this is Ollie Harper. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that is checking us out today here on YouTube.com. If you are checking us out over at Pro Wrestling Junkies, I say a big thank you. Got to give some love to those guys, as well as Lockup Wrestling, the partners to the Gorilla Report. We decided to merge the Gorilla Report and Lockup Wrestling together to bring you only the best pro wrestling content on the internet today. You're going to be getting some great interviews from the Gorilla Report, and you're going to be getting some great pro wrestling reads from the great guys over at Lockup Wrestling. Can't thank them enough. They do a damn good job. Go and check them out, and you will not be disappointed, I promise you that. Now today we are doing something a little bit different. I thought, why not try this in an audio style format? If this works and you guys do like this, we will definitely be considering this for the future in terms of progressing this show and taking this to places hopefully you guys are prepared to come along for the ride to. One thing that I'm definitely looking at doing this summer is a podcast for iTunes, hopefully pro wrestling as well. It very much keep in that genre, and we'll try and keep pretty much. I want to keep it on the same formula. We're going to try and get We're going to get some professional wrestlers on the show. We're going to be doing some great interviews for your audio listening pleasure, because in a lot of ways YouTube is great, no doubt about it, but I want to get this content out there to more and more people, and not everybody has got time to sit behind a desk and watch YouTube. Some people have, but in a lot of ways I think, hey, if we can do this where it's on the go, you guys can be listening to this in the car, you guys can be listening to this when you're taking your grandmother out, or you're in the doctor's, or you're in the dentist, whatever it needs to be. If it's going to get it out there to more and more people, I'm all about it. If you guys want to come along for the ride, please do, because without your support, this show would be nothing. And I only want to bring only the best pro wrestling content out there on the internet. But anybody new that is only just checking us out today, I just say thank you very much for clicking on this video. You can go back and have a look at some of the past archives of Gorilla Reports from last summer. There is some great stuff on there with former WWE superstars such as Al Snow. There is another one on there with Renee Dupree. There's a great female series on there looking at some of the great up-and-coming top female talent from the independents, worldwide talent. Go and check that out. Females of the Squared Circle, something we did over January this year, as well as all of that. Go and check it out. Go through the archives. It's great for a rainy day, I must say. Go and check it out. But anyway, that is enough from me. Coming up next, we have got former WWE Superstar Tyler Reks joining me here on this brand new style format we're doing the Gorilla Report on today. He's coming up next on the Gorilla Report. Alright guys, we are now back on the Gorilla Report interviews, and the guest that is joining me this week is a former WWE Superstar. This gentleman retired from the world of professional wrestling in 2012 to pursue other endeavours, and I am very much delighted to be talking to this gentleman today. I am very much interested to talk to this gentleman about what he's up to these days, as I think a lot of people are. You know, this gentleman kind of moved away from professional wrestling, he's gone on to do his own thing, and today we're going to be talking about his wrestling career as well as what he's up to now. Joining me on the show today is none other than Tyler Reks. Welcome to the Gorilla Report. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, Ollie. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting to be here, and I'm just stoked to be on the show.
You've got it, sir. You've got it. I must say. So let's start with the big question. What have you been up to since leaving the WWE?
That is a big question.
Hey.
I've done a lot, actually. Spending a lot of time with the family, which is the main reason I left the WWE, was to not be on the road and be with my wife and my little girl. So that's been going really good, and I enjoy every moment of that. But been building an internet marketing company over the last 2 years. So we've expanded, really pushing hard. We're into the mobile app development sector. We've got a new social network we're working on, national clients as well as some smaller local clients. So that has been that's been an exciting endeavor, and I'm one of the founding partners. So it's a little different to be back in the working world and not being in the ring taking some bumps.
Yeah, I know. That's very, very cool. I mean, a lot of there's a lot of guys out there that stay in wrestling and they don't have that backup career that they can just fall back on.
Right.
Quite a cool thing you've got going there. So let me say. So I'm guessing you went to college, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what was it you studied? It was.
I actually have a degree in civil engineering with a major in hydrology and a minor in structures. So I can actually design a bridge and a building and design all sorts of crazy water treatment plants if I wanted to. But
Right.
I'm a total geek and pocket protector kind of guy.
Awesome. And let me just ask, so how was it when you obviously were training to be a professional wrestler? How was it juggling the two career choices, really?
Well, at that time, I had left the world of civil engineering. Well, not completely. I'd started my own land development company where basically I was the middleman in between the city and helping developers get their permits. I'd actually worked as a civil engineer in one of the cities close by, so I knew the process very well. And so I was kind of the mediator. That was a great business. My wife owned a personal training center, and both businesses were doing very good. So the transition was, it wasn't difficult. It was a choice that both my wife and I made. My wife is a former professional fitness competitor and fitness model, and she basically looked at me and said, hey, you know what, I've done everything I want to do, let's go chase your dream. So we shut down both businesses, packed it up, and moved to Florida in hopes of making it big. And so it seemed like an easy choice at the time.
Fantastic. And can I just ask, so were you a professional wrestling fan as a younger man, would you say?
Oh yeah, as a kid I totally was. I think most people are at one point, just it's every kid's dream to be a pro wrestler, at least until you're like 12.
Yeah. What kind of era were you very much into at the time? Was it like the Hulk Hogan era? Or?
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. It was Hogan and Andre and Boss Man and Brutus and all those guys, Macho Man, the legends. That's when I was growing up.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about your training then. Of course, you were trained by the late Mike Bell.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, please go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, how was your training? Getting when you finally wanted to start training and getting into the business. How was this?
Well, I have to make a correction because it's funny. Everybody thinks that Wikipedia is the end all, and it's not, because I was never trained by Mike Bell. I don't know how that got in there. I was trained by Tommy Wilson and Tommy Williams. Funky Billy Kim, if that rings a bell with anybody, at UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling. I just have no idea how Mike Bell got in there. Not that I have any problem or had any problem with him. It's just a funny mistake that's in Wikipedia for some reason. But training was interesting. I was scouted because I knew Rick Bassman, the owner of UPW, very well, a good friend of mine, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard the story, but just basically I was at the right place, right time. They liked the look. Bucci and Johnny said, hey, come back, get a tryout. So I went to a tryout in Deep South, and they go, okay, we'll send you a contract. And then they never sent me the contract. And so, I didn't know crap about wrestling and how it worked or what even the process was. So I asked Rick, I said, hey, man, I really enjoyed this. What do I do? He's like, well, just come train at my school. I'll comp you, don't worry. So I would go twice a week to UPW and, train for like 2 hours with Tommy, both Tommies.
Of course. And let me say, so let's talk about the independents then. Let's say, so how would you describe your experience on the independents before you did go to the WWE?
Oh, there was absolutely none. It was literally two days a week of training at UPW, and that was it. I never had an independent show.
Wow.
I just it sounds. So I think some guys that work their asses off may think that I'm just the luckiest guy in the world. I don't want them to think I'm arrogant by any means. I was just lucky, and I just was naive. I didn't know. UPW was pretty much disbanded by the time I was there. I mean, there were all of 6 to 8 people in the class on a good day, and on a bad day, it was like me and one of the Tommies, and that was it. Yeah. So I didn't have any match experience, and it was a matter of Rick taking me backstage, like when the show would come around, to whether it was a house show or like Raw or something, he'd take me backstage and introduce me, and I'd see Johnny. And Johnny's like, "Hey kid, what are you weighing in at?" And I'm like, "Oh, Johnny, hey, cool man, I'm 230." And then 10 months later, he's like, "What are you weighing in at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm 240." And a couple months after that, he's like, "What are you weighing in at?" And I'm like, 245. He's like, "Okay, let's go to Tampa." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so it's all about size." So I guess 245 was the magic number, and they sent me to Tampa.
Fantastic. Let's talk about FCW then, Florida Championship Wrestling.
Sure.
How would you describe your experiences down there? Would you say that they let you really, if there was a character that you wanted to explore with your wrestling, with your gimmick, would you say they were quite flexible? If there was something that you wanted to do and wanted to try, would you say that they were quite willing to let you go with it? Or was it more of a, this is what you're doing, go along and do it and make the best of it?
Yeah, they were absolutely willing to let you try anything, which is what development is all about. Yeah. And so if you had an idea, you pretty much ran it by Doc. Doc would run it by Dusty. If he said, "Yeah, let's try it," you get with Dusty, you kind of develop the character, and then you just try it. And you could try it in a practice match without permission. And then if you wanted to try it on TV, you just had to go chat with Doc and Dusty and get it squared away and say, "Hey, I got this idea. Here it is." And they'll help you. They'll say, "Yeah, I like that, but let's tweak it a little bit. Let's try this, or let's let's take a minute and do a promo and see how it looks on camera." And I mean, they were really good about that stuff. I think it's all about finding that character in development that you're comfortable with, and then helping you like really tweak it, and you get that understanding of, oh, this is how you build the character.
Right, definitely. And I must say, to the viewers at home, an average day in FCW, what would it be? I mean,
but before, oh man, well, it's funny because I was there when it was just being built. Yeah. So we would get there at like. And here's the thing, too. Remember, they don't pay you a whole lot of money when you're in development. It's basically enough to live and pay your bills and live in an apartment, and that's about it. So I would carpool with Zeke and Byron Saxon, and we'd get there about 9. We'd lace up, be in the ring, stretching by 9:15. At 9:30, we're running our warm-up drills and bumping around in the ring. And then about 10 minutes of that, Doc would tell us, "Hey, huddle up, guys." You kind of go over the plan for the day, which could vary from, I mean, we could sit there and do man-in-the-middle drills for 3 hours, or we could do some drills or do some matches on the fly, or say, "Hey, guys, I'm going to pair up you and you and you and you and you. You guys go work out a match, meet me in the arena." Because we had 3 rings in the back, and then we had the arena where TV was taped in Tampa, and so we actually had 4 rings to work with. Oh, wow. Other times, it would just be, okay, everybody in the arena, and then they'd randomly pick 2 guys, say, "You and you go do a match." No setup. And we just do stuff like that nonstop. And we'd be there from 9:30 till, on a good day, we get out at noon. On a bad day, we'd be there till like 2:30. So it was, and I think what people didn't realize at the time is that there was like no water when it was being built. There were no toilets. There was no air conditioning. So it's literally like a huge warehouse in Tampa, Florida, with 98% humidity. Oh my God. And so we had to run across the street if we wanted to go pee, to a gas station, and we had to use a gas station. And then I remember we the water wasn't even turned on yet, and like I don't remember what the reason was, but like guys were like peeing out the back, like in the backyard area. And then Steve Kern got all pissed, so like we weren't allowed to like take bathroom breaks. We had to go to the bathroom before we got to class. We had to wait till after we were done. It was like high school, like little kids. It was so funny.
Can I just ask, do you still watch the current WWE at all? Like the current stuff? Or
you know what? I gotta be honest. I don't. I try to stay current. I read the dirt sheets and we'll check out the highlights. But I don't have cable, and I'm so busy with all my projects that it just doesn't have a lot of time. I will say though, a good buddy of mine just got the network and tossed me his password, so I'll be happily pirating some streaming Raw tonight during the Q&A we're doing for Body Spartan.
Hey, fantastic. We're going to talk about Body Spartan in a little bit. I just want to say, keeping on touch about the WWE stuff. Of course, Kurt Hawkins, still in WWE right now. Kurt Hawkins. When was your first time really getting into, first time meeting Kurt, who would, later on you team up with him?
Yeah, he was. He came back down to FCW. I think after him and Zach split, the Edgeheads disappeared. He was just kind of sitting at home, getting paid, and it was one of those like death traps where if you're not getting called to TV and you're sitting at home, just getting paid, you're eventually going to get released. And Hawkins is too smart for that. So on his own dime, he moves down to Tampa and says, "Oh, hey, Johnny, by the way, I'm going to FCW until you guys call me back up and work on some stuff." So he came down on his own dime and just showed up one day at practice. And him and Trent and Croft were instant buddies from – I don't remember if they knew each other before or not. I think Croft and Hawkins knew each other. But, he's just such a cool guy. He got along with everybody. So Trent and Croft were some of my buddies there. Johnny Curtis. We all just kind of – I don't know. We jived really well. We just clicked. So super cool guy, man. Can't say enough good stuff about him.
That's great. I must say, and of course, when you did get to team up with him around the near end sort of time of your time in the WWE, you were given some quite outlandish sort of gimmicks. Like they gave you that that stripper gimmick. I mean, when you had this put on the table and in front of you, and they were like, "Hey, you're going to go out there and you're going to be a male stripper. That's what you're doing on SmackDown. Go out there, do that, please." That's all there is to it. How did you feel about this being put to you?
At that point in the career, like I said, I've said this before, it was Hunter's idea.
Okay.
And, Big Sexy was in Magic Mike, so I think there was some Magic Mike love going around. And, Hunter comes over to Hawkins and I, and it was right after the Money in the Bank match with Ryback, and we were like, "Hey, Hunter, what do you think of the match? Is that what you wanted?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, hey, but come here, I got an idea I want to talk to you guys about." And he pulls us aside and pitches us this idea, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, I can dance and I can strip." And Hawkins, his jaw is on the ground, I don't want to do this. But it's one of those things where if the brass says do it and it's their idea, it's going to work because it's their idea. They're going to make sure it works. So we're like, okay, we'll go figure it out. And I called the office and I was like, "Hey guys, I can kind of dance, but Hawkins, he can't dance to save his life. Will you guys pay for some dance lessons?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll find a studio in New York for Hawkins. We'll find one in California for you." So they set us up. We got a coach. Even had the coach at SummerSlam. We'd sneak off in the mornings to go to the hotel, their banquet room, and take dance lessons and stuff. As funny as that is.
Fantastic. And same question as I said about it being an FCW, WWE backstage. Would you say that there is that sort of walking on eggshells in terms of talent being too scared to try new things in front of the bosses and trying to ask for if they've got an idea and they want to try it? Would you say that was the case back then, or would you
Yeah, that definitely was the case. It's really weird, Ollie. There is this fine line of I want to try something, but I don't want to piss somebody off, or I don't want to be arrogant, or there's all these factors that fall into play, and everybody is really sensitive, and there's this balance that is hard to find, and a way to do things that sometimes is right and sometimes is wrong. And I have been bashed tremendously by top guys for, voicing my opinion on certain things and trying something new that somebody didn't like. Then all of a sudden one guy likes it, like, hey, that's great. And then I got another top guy pissed off at me. So it's like, well, you can't win them all. But yeah, there's definitely some walking on eggshells for sure. And with my era, when the guys came up, we were taught to be super humble and quiet, and we don't talk unless spoken to, by the top guys. We give them all the respect, and it's like they can, they can squish you with their thumb kind of thing. So be cool. And so that's kind of the mentality we had.
Yeah, fantastic. So so very much just respecting the guys that paved the way is what you're saying, really. The guys that were there before, doing the whole, and so be it, of course, with them being the locker room leaders and whatnot. And you just I can understand that.
And don't get me wrong. There was definitely I never didn't respect those guys. I always did. It's just, how do you break out of being the new guy and trying to advance yourself? Because everybody has their opinion in let's say, for example, what Mark Henry thinks you should do versus what Chris Jericho thinks you could do. Let's say they both pull you aside after watching a practice match before TV, and one guy says, hey, try this, and then the other guy pulls you aside 10 minutes later, hey, you should do this tonight. And you're like, oh man, I'm screwed. Like, what do I do? And because if you don't do one of them, that guy's going to be pissed off. So that kind of stuff happens too.
Yeah, I can imagine. Kind of getting a bit of a split almost.
Then all of a sudden you've accidentally picked sides and you got an enemy. You're like, whoops.
Yeah, kind of. And it can be easier. It can be that easy to do. And
and you don't even mean to. It's just you're stuck.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk about another couple of little things before we move on a little bit. When you were in ECW, the new ECW at the time, when Vince decided to make a bit of money and start a third brand and put the ECW name on it, what was your thoughts on the new ECW? I know it got quite a bit of bad press. A lot of the old school hardcore fans weren't very much into it, but then again, it was a great way to showcase a lot of the younger talents, such as yourself, Kofi Kingston, and then there was a couple of other guys around there. Zeke was on there. What would you say about your time at the new ECW?
I would call it a learning experience. I had no clue at that time what was going on. I was literally called to TV one day. I was on the road for about 2 weeks, and we really just assumed it was a chance to just let them look at us and practice and, get in front of the agents. And then all of a sudden, Carano goes, all right, guys, you're debuting tonight. We're giving you the ball, and you're rolling with it. And so next thing I know, I'm on TV, and I'm just – it's so different because the crowd – the large crowd at TV and at house shows responds so differently than an indie show. So an FCW show where you got 100 or 200 people, we've learned to cater to that crowd. And then, a crowd of 6,000 or 10,000 people that have never seen you before, that paid money to see top guys, and here you are, they don't give a crap about you. And so it's ultimately nerve-wracking, but it's an opportunity just to get out there in front of them and learn how to work in front of a different crowd. And that's really what I think it was about, learning how to take advice from the vets, how to figure out my character, how to just basically get my feet wet in this gigantic machine.
I remember when you first came in, you had this surfer sort of thing going on. I remember you had this crazy midnight Ace Ventura surf music going on. I was like, I didn't quite get. They should, if they were going to go with the full surfer thing, at least have you coming out with a surfboard or something. I was the way.
Now, see, that was an idea, and I had pitched all sorts of stuff in FCW. I was like, I want to break surfboards over people's heads. I'm like, this is really fun. We could have a lot of fun with this. It's too dangerous. And then in FCW, I had these kind of cool surf shorts. They were almost like the indie shorts, but they were more geared towards surf stuff. They had a little hang loose symbol on them, and so it kind of matched. And then when I got to TV, Johnny goes, "Oh yeah, we're gonna ditch the trunks because we're gonna ditch the shorts because Miz wears shorts. You can't wear them, so you're in trunks." I'm like, "Oh." So all of a sudden, I have to whip up a pair of trunks overnight. I've never worn trunks before. I get thrown out on TV, debuting uncomfortable in trunks. There's this crazy breeze between my legs, and I've got no gimmick. I'm like, "Hey guys, I'm wearing white trunks and I have dreadlocks. I don't know what I'm doing." So. it like killed the gift instantly, and I didn't know who I was at that point, which is I think why it failed so miserably.
Mm-hmm. And the name Tyler Reks, who came up with that idea of that ring name Tyler Reks?
Oh, one day, Timmy Baltimore, who was Dusty's assistant, goes, guys, we need names. We need your stage names, and we need them now. The office says we can't use your real names for copyright purposes, so I need a list tomorrow. Just give me a bunch of first names and last names. And we tried it. We had this crazy name. Like, I think I had Taj Milano for a while. Like, they randomly just picked the first name and a last name that I liked, and then I said, look, guys, we can't do this. So Tyler was a name that my wife and I had talked about. If we ever had a boy as a child, we liked the name Tyler. So we said, well, let's use that.
Yeah.
And we were stuck for like a week trying to think of a last name. And I called my buddy who was in marketing, and I said, hey, man, what's a good last name? And he just instantly goes, hey, man, just Rex for T-Rex. And I go, oh. And he says, tweak it, though, so it doesn't look so obvious of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so change the spelling a little bit, and just kind of didn't like spoon feed it. It was just the gimmick name was there, and just people kind of on it. And that was kind of the idea.
Oh, fantastic. And then, of course, you got moved to SmackDown, and they went kind of with a much more sort of, they tried like a darker sort of character. Again, you were still kind of trying to, finding your feet where you wanted this character to go. Whose idea was it to sort of go, let's try and take you more in like a darker sort of place where it's kind of, you're coming down to this very mellow music, and you're the heel, and where did the idea come in with that?
That was Arn. Arn Anderson one day goes, Rex, I want you to work heel. I'm like, okay. He's like, go figure it out. He's like, you run as many matches as you want up here in practice. He's like, go down to FCW, learn how to work heel. I said, oh, okay, you got it, bud. So I don't remember who my match was against, but I kind of figured it out a little bit. And one day I just had this idea where I wanted my dreads in my face, and I wanted, before I hit the finisher, I wanted to get this like crazy look in my eyes and get one of the camera to zoom in, and I'd pull on my dreads and just kind of like, lose my stuff and go nuts on a guy. And I did it, and they loved it. And like, that is a character. They're like, it was a little too eerie and too crazy. We need to tone it down a notch, but that is a character. And so then Johnny gets involved, and he goes, go talk to the seamstresses. So like Terry and Julie, the two WWE seamstresses, are at every show. They've been there for like 20 years. They're smart, and they get gimmicks. And he pulled them in, and they go, there's this movie, for the life of me, I cannot remember what it was, but it was about like, it's kind of like the Hunger Games almost, but like a real old version where a guy gets dropped onto this island. He's got to fight for his life, and there's this crazy civilization. But the main heel was this really kind of dreadlock, nappy-haired guy with this big beard. He just looked really evil, and Terry and Julie go, let's make him that. And Johnny loved it. So that's kind of where that character came from. There was no promo work, because they just thought, okay, let's keep him quiet. Let's see what he does. We just want you to be a monster. And that's just kind of how it formed.
Fantastic. And that's great, because obviously, you were saying you were trying to find that what worked for you in ECW, and really over time when you did get to SmackDown, and you were really able to find your feet and find your niche and what was really working and what the crowd was reacting to. And of course, they always say, if the crowd's reacting to it, either it be good or bad, you're doing something right.
Exactly. And that's really what they're looking for, is like, what are you doing that's getting a reaction? And so the crowd kind of picked up on this big evil monster. You can feel the energy. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain it, but there is an energy when you're in the ring, and you can feel it, whether the crowd is responding or not. You have to have worked a bunch of matches in front of crowds like that to understand it and be comfortable. But you can feel when something's working, even if they're not super loud. Like, I could tell that character was starting to catch on at a certain point. Like bragging rights, they didn't know me, but they were into it, and so it was there. That energy was there. But then it faded.
I was just going to ask another thing, obviously, talking about the fans. Now, of course, like every year, WrestleMania week, or WrestleMania weekend, WrestleMania week's a week-long event, as they say. Of course, you got to be a part of the Access, or WWE Access. How was this schedule? I mean, is it literally a non-stop thing for days of just pure autograph signings for you. I mean, how was that, when they put this in front of you on WrestleMania week, that you're going to be going out there and it's like you're going to be doing sessions, meeting fans? I mean, how do you go with this?
Well, it wasn't as bad as they make it out to be. If you're a top guy, your schedule's way crazier than any of us low card or mid card guys. For me, it was one or two things a day, and I had to. Some days I didn't have anything, and I would just I'd take off with the wife and a couple other guys, and we just go shopping or hang out or go eat some food and explore. So it was more of a very relaxing week for us, if anything. And as a low card guy, you want to be involved in as much stuff as possible, so you kind of get in where you can. Like the art show, I did the art show every year.
Oh wow!
It was kind of my thing. That Corona was like, "Hey, Gabe, you want to do it again?" It worked really well. I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to do it."
Yeah.
So you want to do as much as possible and just be as active as possible because it looks good. The office goes, "Okay, they're involved. They want this."
Tremendous, exactly. And if the right people are looking at that, then it's going to go great for the future.
Yeah, or they may not be looking at all, and you can just be wasting time. That's a problem. You just never know, and you just hope that they're noticing.
Yeah, fabulous. Let's say, so when, of course, you left the WWE on your own thing. Am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reasons was it just did you say you wanted to spend more time with your family, or?
Yeah, my little girl was 8 months old, and we it was SummerSlam, and we had tried to bring her with us, and she was kind of a colicky baby. She cried a lot, and we thought it would kind of be like a family trip and vacation because I didn't have a whole lot going on. I had a couple of autograph signings, but it seemed like whenever my wife needed me to help out with the baby, I had to go do something. I'm like, I got an autograph signing, and it just happens to be at this time, or like, the baby's just crying at night, and we're in a hotel. The management's gonna freak out, so we didn't get any sleep, and we ended up. My folks just happened to be driving through LA from visiting my brother, and my wife goes, I think I'm gonna hop right back with your folks. This is just really hard. And I looked at her. I'm like, you know what? I think it might be a good idea. So when I packed her up the next day in the car with my folks and kissed them all goodbye, I watched them drive away, and I was like, I can't do it. It just ripped my heart out of my chest. Like, I can't be the dad I want to be. I'm like, I'm done. Like, there are just some things that are more important.
Yeah, definitely. Right there and then, I think you got the. Would you say that kind of like that reality check kind of kicked in?
That was it. It was like there was no question in my mind. I was done.
And so when you did leave, and obviously you retired, hung your boots up, is there people still in WWE that you keep in touch with?
Oh yeah. Most of the guys that I was in FCW with, we still talk. Schedules are busy, so we send texts and we banter on Twitter, and I hear some news, and I'll send them a text. I hear news, and they'll send me a text. So it's we stay in touch as much as possible.
Fantastic. Now, okay, so let's talk now a little bit more about some of your up-and-coming projects. Now, of course, I am very much interested in the Body Spartan, this new book that you're working with. Let's talk about this.
Sure. Well, where do you want to start? Do you have any questions about it? Or you want me to just go?
Yeah, how did the idea come about you wanting to release a book, and what do you hope it's going to bring out there? Sure.
Okay, well, it all kind of started from getting tons of questions, first from the guys on the road about how I stayed so lean and kept my size. I'd be on the road training, and they're like, how do you do it? And I'd take time to explain it to them. And then I get questions on social media. And even after I retired, people were like, how do you, what's your secrets? What do you eat? What's your nutrition like? How many hours you spend in the gym a day? And I do my best to respond. But, in 140 characters on Twitter, you can't do it. I'm like, I feel like I'm trying to write a book. And then one night I go, oh, I'm just going to put it all on paper. And I'm just going to put it out there and let everybody know every one of my secrets. I've been lifting weights for 21 years. I've been in the gym for 21 years. I've been involved in fitness as long as I can remember. And it's a passion. It's a part of my life. And I want to help people. The tagline for the book is change your physique and your life. And having a good physique One, it's attractive, but two, you're way healthier. Your body just responds better to everything. For people in their, getting up there in age, if you're in your 40s or 50s, I mean, you want to be able to pick up your grandkids someday and walk around with them and, give them piggyback rides. You don't want to be sitting in your chair, not able to move. You want to feel good and be active, and that's part of what I want to pass along. And that was really my goal. I thought, if I put this all on paper and I give everybody one place to go for information, we can change lives. We can do some good.
I was just going to say, would you say that you, I know Arnold Schwarzenegger's got a good big book out about that type of thing. Would you say you at all looked at any of his stuff for inspiration when putting the book together?
Yeah, Arnold is a huge inspiration. I've been a fan of his since I was a kid. I grew up with like Commando and Predator and all that stuff. So, and as I got older and more into bodybuilding and into fitness, you realize what an icon Arnold is. He's just the epitome of fitness. Yeah. And so, I definitely look to him for inspiration, and look to a lot of his writings for that sort of stuff.
I've actually got a friend that listens to this show. He's actually going through a bit of a injury at the moment. He's hurt his wrist, and at the moment he's unable to get to the gym. Have you got any good sort of advice for him in terms of him on his return to the gym, and anything he could be looking at when on his return?
Yeah, definitely. What kind of wrist injury it is? Is it like a sprain? Did he break some bones?
I think he's done something to his wrist, but he's unable to do any heavy lifting for the time.
Okay. Well, it's about maintenance then for him. If you can't lift heavy, you can do high reps, lightweight, higher reps in the 18 to 24 rep range. Yeah. That alone will help you maintain some muscle mass. And then the other trick is nutrition. I don't think people realize how important it is. And in my book, I talk about this. Imagine you've got this, exotic European sports car, and it looks great on the outside, but you're putting like crap gasoline in it, and you're just letting it idle in the garage. I mean, that is just the worst thing you can do for the engine. You might as well put sugar in the gas tank. Yeah. So, the analogy is let's get some good gas in it. Let's get some high octane fuel. Let's get you on the Autobahn, and let's let it scream. That's what you're meant to do. So feed your body like it's an exotic sports car. Feed it what it needs to stay lean. And there's a section in my book about a lifestyle diet. So if you're not ready for the 12-week shredding diet that's in the book, and you want lifestyle tips, there's a whole section in there that talks about what to eat, what not to eat, foods that are absolute no-nos to stay away from, things like switching from white to wheat, brown rice, what kind of meats are lean, choices to make, instead of fast foods. There's all sorts of stuff in there that will help somebody like your friend maintain the muscle mass, keep the body fat off while he's, in recovery.
Fabulous. And please do plug, where can you be obtaining this book on sale? Please you can.
Absolutely. You guys can go to bodyspartan.com, and it's right there on the homepage. Just click on book. Actually, right now, through the end of the month, we're doing this launch special. So if you buy the book, there is a package plan on there. Just click on the package deal. We have a custom nutrition plan that we offer that is not general. It's very specific. So it's like a 10-minute assessment online. It's with a company that my wife and I used to use when we had our personal training center. They've got this amazing software. But literally, you plug in your age, your weight. If you have a body tape or like a sewing tape measure, you can take your body measurements, what foods you like, what foods you don't like, are you allergic to stuff? And it basically has all these algorithms and spits out this custom menu for you on what you eat every single day based on what you like. It also spits out a shopping list, what supplements you should use, and a full workout plan. And the stuff has changed lives in the past. I mean, we've had people lose hundreds of pounds on this. We've sent people to competitions using this nutrition software. And usually, and what we will be charging after March is $49.99 a month. But if you buy the book we're giving it away for $2 a month indefinitely. We want people to succeed, and we want people to understand how powerful this is. So we're basically just giving it away.
That's amazing. And from what you're saying, of course, with all these diet plans and all this great stuff that this book's able to give, it's just like having a personal trainer at your possession, is what you're saying, is when getting the book.
That's the goal. There's a huge section on motivation. Personal trainers are basically like cheerleaders in the gym. They're knowledgeable, but they're that motivation. They're that driving force that says, okay, today you're doing this whether you like it or not. And that's kind of the goal of the book, is to get you motivated. There's a whole section on setting goals, how to stay motivated, and then you just got to get up off your butt and you just got to do it. And that is the first section of the book. And I wanted to put it out that way so that it felt like you had a coach. It felt like you had a personal trainer right there in the book.
That is excellent. And for anybody out there that does want to check out Tyler's book, please do go over to Body Spartan. They say bodyspartan.com.
Correct.
Fantastic. Please go over there, check that out. As if you want to be lean, you want to be a machine, that is the best place to go. Now,
absolutely.
Fantastic. A little bit of a marketing ploy there. Hey, there you go. Any final sort of things you'd like to talk about today?
I'd love to just get out there. The Body Spartan, the book, like we said, is available, but the website is so much more. I think, as everybody knows, we've teamed up with Zeke, JTG, Ethan Carter. We've got Gemma Palmer, who is Inferno from the UK Gladiator show. We've got Brian Cage, who is a former FCW talent, now a bodybuilder on the circuit. And then my wife is a master sports nutritionist. And everybody is literally churning out articles on workouts, supplements, fitness, general health and wellness every week. So there is constant content on that site for everybody to read, more beyond what the book has. So if you're looking for workout advice, nutrition advice, there's plenty of stuff in the training and workout section for everybody to read.
Well, absolutely tremendous. I just want to say good luck with everything, Tyler. I must say good luck with everything.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And as I say, thank you very much for coming on the show today. I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you for this near 45 minutes. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic, Ollie. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and again, just stoked to be on the show.
You've got it. And that is that, guys. We will see you very, very soon for another edition of the Gorilla Report interviews. Keep on watching your professional wrestling. I'll be back somewhere down the road. You guys take care.